John Newton says something to Wilberforce. First of all, you can imagine the answer to his prayers to have Wilberforce accept the faith and to now return. It must have been a wonderful moment. And he tells Wilberforce something that it's like out of Esther. Who knows but that God made you to stay where you are for such a time as this? Stay in politics. You have all the connections. You can speak the language of that people group. He wouldn't have said that. But the point is that you know how to move in that world. We need born again believers in that world of politics. We have all kinds of issues where we have no power. If you were there, God might use you. Who knows what he might do? So Wilberforce, to his great credit, accepts this advice and stays in Parliament. Well, about 2 years later, he writes in his journal, his diary, 20 famous words. He writes, God Almighty has set before me two great objects: the suppression of the slave trade and the reformation of manners. And he meant, by manners, he meant morality or culture. So it's kind of like, he's been praying. He didn't want to leap into anything. But after about 2 years, I guess it was 1787, he writes that God has set before me two great objects. I didn't find them. God set them before me. God has called me to fight this abomination, this wicked thing called the transatlantic slave trade, which was, if you read the book, there's a first person account, and it's so horrible. It's so evil. He knows God has called him to stand up against this in Parliament, because there were a number of serious Christians opposed to the slave trade, but they had no political power. And they'd been praying that the Lord would provide somebody in Parliament, and the Lord provided Wilberforce.